All right, let's give you a live look at Buckingham Palace, where you can see crowds there continue to gather. They are mourning the death of Queen Elizabeth II. She was the world's oldest and longest serving head of state, inheriting the crown more than 70 years ago. She was the last world leader to pass from what's known as the greatest generation, basically those born in the early 1900s and fought in World War II. Here's Queen Elizabeth serving in World War II in the Auxiliary Territorial Service as a driver and a mechanic. So this is our first topic today on our Rush Hour Roundtable. We'd like to introduce you to Thursday's panel. With us today is Angela Sinandella, attorney and legal analyst and TikTok's premier legal voice. We have Jason Rantz, host of the Jason Rantz Show on KTTH in Seattle. Amy Tarkanian, former Nevada Republican chairwoman and Republican strategist. And finally, Brian Babylon, comedian, producer, and radio host. Panel, welcome to you all. So our first question, Queen Elizabeth, essentially the last world leader to die, as we know, from this greatest generation. Will we ever see this type of great unifier like Queen Elizabeth in our lifetimes? Jason, let's start with you.
I mean, the answer is yes. Of course, we'll see someone who's going to be a great unifier. Certainly, that's what we all would hope to see. I think what's important right now, especially the UK is experiencing this right now, is that with all the division, with all the rancor, with all the angry rhetoric, everyone right now, for the most part in the United Kingdom and really around the world, are coming together and celebrating her life and really exploring what she meant to the United Kingdom and how she was, in fact, someone who brought people together. And beyond that, of course, she did it without any complaints. This is someone who held this role for 70 years without complaining, was really about tradition and what this meant to the country. And so when you think about it in those perspectives, I think it can bring everybody together. Now we just got to hold on to that unity just for a little bit.
I disagree. I don't think that we will see anybody like her. I don't think we will see any sort of tremendous unifier who had this reign over 70 years. I think it's a different generation. I think people feel far differently about the monarchy than they did when she first took the throne. And so I don't know. I think the future's up in the air. Maybe discord is the future, and maybe people are actually going to lean into that.
And Brian,
I actually think, too, that a lot of people are concerned, especially here in America, not that we believe in a monarchy, but the fact that there's such dislike for King Charles now. There's concern that he's not going to be able to rule in the same manner as his mother. She was steadfast. She was level-headed. She also ruled, with a sense of humor. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to fill her shoes. And I know that's a major concern.
And Brian, before we get to you, I'd like to piggyback off what Amy just mentioned there. England, of course, our closest ally. Queen Elizabeth has had a good relationship with a dozen U.S. presidents, played a key role in the political life, obviously, of her own country. Do we think that now King Charles III can fill that role, Brian?
First of all, let's be real that the monarchy really is just for pomp and circumstance and really is not really ruling anything, first and foremost. I think that people are over this whole Disney sort of fantasy of having a monarchy, kings, queens, princesses, and stuff like that. And for me, I feel sorry for the royal family and their loss, but at the end of the day, the royal family, to a lot of people that I know, just represents, people taking things what they want. That's sort of Game of Thrones rules. You can't have a dynasty that the sun never set on the British Empire. You can't have that just with crumpets and tea. You have to take it. So I think in this new world, that will be.
But there are going to be changes that will be immediate, whether if she's just the face or if he's now just the face, because now you have the London Stock Exchange closed, which will affect their economy. You'll have, new money being printed immediately, and passports have to be changed. So there are going to be some major changes that are undertaken immediately that will affect their economy.
Well, so let's piggyback now
That's
on something that Brian
that's
said,
not going to
though.
affect the economy at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
look,
at
at the
all.
end
Not
of the
at
day, with all due respect, changing the money, changing the look of it, that doesn't actually do anything. And closing the economy down is not what's happening when you close down the stock market momentarily, because everyone is coming together to celebrate her life. So you're not going to see any sort of political shift at all. I think obviously part of the monarchy that we're talking about here, no offense, it's not Game of Thrones, but it is, in fact, more of just what they do. This is part of tradition. They don't hold the same kind of political power, certainly that historically they held. That's why they have a prime minister who does, in fact, hold a lot of the political power. This is symbolic. It's important for the United Kingdom, and people still are very, very sort of inclusive of what that means for the country and what that has meant historically for them.
Well, so
let's
piggyback off that, though. Let's piggyback
there's
off what Brian said there. I mean,
countries
is
that
it
they
time
oversee.
for the monarchy to be over? I mean, there are so many people who love it, so many people who relish the tradition of it all. But then Brian also brings up this good point. I mean, there's obviously a history of British colonialism that we cannot forget, we cannot ignore. It has been very damaging to many locations across the world. So is this maybe, a time to think about? I mean, certainly nothing that we here in America could control, but just to discuss. Angela, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I certainly hope that all Americans would agree with that and think that it is time for the monarchy to go. That was the whole point of the Boston Tea Party, which I support, and I hope that all Americans did as well. So is the monarchy outdated? Frankly, yes. It does not make sense for one family to have the moral authority over an entire country plus all these commonwealths. I mean, it is outdated.
And that was the Game of Thrones part that I was talking of, the old time. You had to take colonies, to take islands, to take India. That was sort of, you don't go and knock on the door and say, hello, can I have your country, please? No, you go take it Game of Thrones style.
You do realize, however, that's not happening now, right?
I know.
Again,
I said that's how they got it. I said that's how they got it. That's how they got it.
What they're holding on to, when they talk about the monarchy in the United Kingdom, what they're holding on to is the tradition. They're not. They are holding on to the pomp and circumstance. They're not saying we're going to go out and start colonizing other land. That's not what they do.
Tradition itself is such a tricky word. You can't just say things should exist for tradition only. I mean, that was used so many times throughout history to continue to colonize, to penalize. It's not an argument in itself for tradition's sake. I do think, though, that the monarchy has, as you said, unified people. People are crying because they loved her. They felt that she had this tremendous role. But in the same way that in our lives, when parents, when grandparents, when a generation passes, well, guess what? People get stronger. They survive. They continue. They take off their training wheels. This is not going to be the end of, the ability of this nation to stand on its own. But I don't think it's going to be. The monarchy is not going to continue in the way that it has.
Well, and
Right.
before we go,
Jason,
let me just finish.
very
Amy,
helpful.
do you think, before we go, just to bring it together, Charles now, King Charles III, has quite a tumultuous history, as many of us do. Do you think he will be accepted? I mean, obviously, he is king, but will he be accepted there?
Yes, I do think he's going to be accepted. Is he going to be loved? Probably not.
All right. Well, panel, thank you so much. We're going to move on. We have other topics to get to. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.